You're yelling at me. You're yelling at me.
Sorry.
Okay, that's better. I like that. Tyler Carlson, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Tyler?
Doing good, Bruce. How
Good.
are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're looking all dapper and handsome and everything. You must be living the life, huh? Living large?
Yeah, living large. That's exactly right. Living large. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I know that your schedule now precludes you from doing any work. You just don't have anything to do.
That's
You know, you're the president of these boards. Yeah, go ahead and do it, right? Whatever.
Right. Yeah, well, there's a lot to do in all those boards.
Boy, tell me. And you got yourself involved with the chamber pretty deep down.
Pretty deep.
Did you miss a meeting, or was that planned?
No, I think it was planned.
Okay.
It wasn't planned to have the level of activity that we're having right
Yeah.
now, but it was planned. It was planned. Timing is everything, I guess.
Absolutely. Now, some years ago, the chamber, and we're talking about the Bullhead Area Chamber of Commerce, some time ago there was some concern about, getting people on the board, so it didn't look like it was an old boys club, right?
Yes.
Boys club or girls club or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So you changed the way that took place.
Sure.
Okay, executive director leaves, prior to this, the executive director leaves.
Right.
And you still haven't got an executive director. Now people are saying, what the hell's going on?
Right.
You can't pull one out of thin air. I want to know what's going on myself.
Well, it's not as dubious or that as difficult to really understand. Let me try to give you some history, because when I came on the board, there were a number of things such as policies and procedures, and even as you indicated, how do you get on the board, the executive board itself, the board itself, how does that all work? And we had a lot of paper, but we had nothing that was actually policies and procedures that were put in place.
Okay.
So it was really hard for me to understand also. But when I first came on board, it's hard for me to then start complaining right off the bat about what's not happening. I'm there, I'm on the board. People
Right.
seem to be happy with what's going on. And I had a great deal of trouble with the financial reports and the finances themselves. I couldn't really understand them. I couldn't really get a grasp of the finances. We seem to have been carrying people on the rolls or on the books that businesses had closed, but they seem to be carried on the books as almost an account receivable. So, and I know this is really this will be too much technical jargon.
Not really.
But what we did is we thought that when we had handed it over to the new executive director, that a lot of this would get straightened out. A lot of this would get righted, and the business aspect would be forefront. And we thought that was going to be the case, because no matter what, if the business part isn't working, all of the ribbon cuttings and the handshakings and the public appearances aren't going to work if the business isn't working. So we really then decided when we had the vacancy that what we were going to do is focus on policies and procedures and the finances. And we mean getting a new financial package up and running, so the folks could use it themselves, so we could actually get financials. I can't tell you how many months I would go to a chamber board meeting and there would be no financials. It would be on the agenda to approve, but there would be no financials. And I know a number of times some of us just voted no. We're not going to approve financials we haven't seen. So there was a concerted effort to get the financials all kind of squared away, get us on a platform and a package that the chamber themselves could use. Put some policies and procedures in place having to do with the treasurer of the chamber. And once that's all put in place, then we would look to go out to get an executive director. We didn't want to hand a new executive director the same kind of mishmash and problems that we handed the last one that did not get corrected. And so from my perspective, this has been a kind of a long time coming, and I'm pretty much a business perspective person. I want the businesses to run. Businesses should run right, and then you can do a lot of great things, but you got to get the business squared away.
Right.
So there were a lot of things that we had to square away. We had to take a look at our sources of revenue. We had to take a look at what profit centers were really profit centers. We had to take a look at who's on our rolls. Are these active members, or are we just sending out a packet to someone who has no intention of re-upping as a chamber member? So we had a chamber membership that was probably overestimated. And if you don't know who's not a member anymore, how do you actually go off with a concerted effort to bring those people back in?
Yeah.
You just don't know because your roles aren't corrected. So we really paid attention to getting our roles all right. Who is a chamber member, who's not. We made a big effort on our website so we could actually make that a kind of a resource center, a profit center, as it would be. And we worked hard on that, and we worked hard on the finances, and we had been working for a real budget, such that when we hire an executive director, those things are in place. Right. We also then went upon Sean Bristol and Lisa McCabe really worked really hard. There's a couple of others that pitched in, but they were the ones that worked really hard to try to get our policies and procedures in place, starting from the top down. So as you indicated, now we have a process that we followed to get new board members this last time. But that was a process that wasn't really identified or agreed to by the board before. There were pieces of paper out there, but those pieces of paper didn't actually equate to how this is going to work.
Right.
So really, I guess what we've spent time is structuring the chamber. And we have business people structuring the chamber from a business perspective and structuring it from a policies and procedures perspective on the big picture.
Right.
Not every policy and procedure is totally all done at this particular point. But that's what we focused our time on. We told the board that. We explained that to everybody. Everybody on the board agreed. Everybody in the executive director or the executive committee agreed. This was going to be our focus before we actually went out with an announcement. So going out with the announcements means that our finances are in place.
Right.
We know our roles. We know who's on the books and who's not, or pretty much we do. We know where our sources of revenues are. We know where we have some opportunity to expand and bring people back in. We've got the website up and running, so now we can sell it. And we've got the top level policies and procedures in place. So we are kind of ready to operate, not handing a bucket full of slew to whoever it is that's going to come in and say, do your best. So now we're ready, and we went out for to try to get applications. We had a number of applications. We're down to a final 3 or 4 that we're going to be interviewing soon. So we should be going through interviews, and we're talking about in the next few weeks we should have somebody on board. But it wasn't as if we were dilly-dallying, waiting for something else to occur. We were busy working. And I really tell you that the executive board really worked hard to get all these things in place. It was not easy. It was not just we had to deploy a new financial system. We had to train all the staff on the financial system. You had to load all of over a year's worth of financial data into the.
Kidding?
Oh no, there was nothing there. So you had to take a financial system and then you had to load all of the data in, going back for as long as you could, a year, 18 months or so, and then start from there. And so you're kind of reinventing. You're starting from square one.
Sure.
And so that's what the board did. That's what the chamber board did. We all agreed that this was the priorities, getting all this done.
You didn't have a choice, actually.
Well, you could, but
well, it's going to blow up.
It's going to blow up, and we kind of tried that with the last executive director. Just said, hand it here, it's a mess. Can you clean up the mess? And really that should be the chamber board kind of part of the direction should be, here's what you should use, here's your policies, here's how the financials should work.
Right.
Here's how you should be able to write checks. Here's who should be checking what. Here's how the treasurer of the board will interact with the executive director and with the rest of the chamber.
Wait a minute, you're talking like a professional board. Is that right?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
I think so. But I really think we've worked really hard to get to this particular point, and I'll hand it to John Jones, who basically kind of started this. I was his vice, or I was his second in command, and we kind of started on this particular path, and then John had to step away, and when he stepped away, then that just meant I'm starting earlier.
Yeah.
So it was the timing thing is what it was, and I'm, as you know, I'm fairly business focused, and so I will, my major focus was making sure the business is right, And we have a lot of great folks on that board, a lot of great folks on the executive board, and I really commend everyone, because you all think that maybe someone might think that we've been dawdling some, dilly-dallying, but we all have jobs.
I'm trying not to spread that rumor too far.
We all have jobs, and we're doing it in our part-time.
Yeah.
And we had some great volunteers from Mohave, actually, Karen Shelton, our kind of our chief accountant. She's the one that dug in, and she loaded all the data in her spare time. She loaded all the data for the last number of months, and then got it all ready and then kind of trained the folks over at the chamber, and then turned it over to them and said, "Here you go. You've got a new financial system, supported financial system. It's QuickBooks, but you have to load everything into QuickBooks.
Right.
It just doesn't load itself.
Right.
And you got to take all that financial data, and Greg Eidness and Karen did a great job in getting to this particular point, getting controls in place, meaning financial controls in place, such that having the right number of signatories for the right level of purchase and all that stuff, having an ability to do electronic purchases, electronic payments. We really worked hard to get to this point, to hand this off to someone. So it was time well spent, and we know that there's been some time, going on, and we had somebody who was willing to step in and do it, in the interim.
Right.
John. So
you need to get things cleaned up before you brought in an executive director in.
We really think that was critically important for us to get things ready for someone else to work, I guess you're just asking for continued chaos.
Well, it sounds like everything was handed to you in a big brown paper bag. Kind of like before I met Lynn, how I used to do my taxes, just throw everything in this bag and then I take it down to H&R Block back when. And that's what you kind of were sitting on. Yeah,
it was. And it's kind of been this way for a while. There was many of us that didn't understand it really, but when you're new on the board, what are you going to do? Just you're thinking that everyone else is comfortable and you're not, so maybe you're the sole idiot. But but as we went, we figured out I wasn't, or there was a few of us who were also concerned, and once we all had the discussion about what we need to do, we absolutely totally agreed, and off we went. And
awesome.
And the board has been very supportive. They haven't complained that we're moving too slow or anything. They've just asked when. So maybe if the general public is asking when, I kind of get what they're asking. Right. But let's make sure that they understand that we were doing some really major housekeeping and getting our ducks in a row before we brought someone in.
Yeah, but you got to do your due diligence on this too. I mean, just bringing somebody in and putting them in now that everything's cleaned up. You got to have the right person in there that you know is going to stay for a while.
Right.
And do the right job for you. I got to take a real quick break.
Absolutely.
We'll come back. Stay right where you are, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a real quick break, and we will return with the 5-day weather right now. I didn't know I was supposed to do it right now. Wait a minute. Oh, 5-day weather brought to you by Bullhead Auto and Marine Superstore in Bullhead City. All you need to do is drive down Miracle Mile, find them. And, you need car parts? Okay. Truck parts? Yep. Boat parts? Yep. Even a shop that works on boats, 2-stroke and 4-stroke. And if you're into boats, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bullhead Auto and Marine Superstore.
Okay, around the region today, we're looking at high temperatures like this. Partly cloudy skies in Los Angeles and San Diego, 69 degrees in San Diego, 72 in Los Angeles. You're okay. 97 in Las Vegas, 74 in Flagstaff, 101 in Phoenix, and only 99 degrees here in the Laughlin Bullhead City area. Over the next 5 days, with today winds out of the south at 18 miles an hour, and the high again at 99, 74 for an overnight low. Tomorrow, 96 for a high, 100 on Friday, 104 on Saturday and on Sunday. So a little bit of a cool down here, but it's going to warm right back up in time for the weekend. Still looks really nice. Wind not too bad.
Again, brought to you. Yeah, it does. It looks like a nice day. Looks like nice weather. I know, and I especially know that Mikhail will enjoy that the warmer it gets. Again, brought to you by Bullhead Auto and Marine Superstore in Bullhead City. Stop by today. We going to break? Or are we here?
Got a break.
All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Today's morning show is brought to you by Compassus.
At the heart of who we are stand compassion, integrity, and excellence. Call Compassus for more information.
Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
Mohave Skin and Cancer in Laughlin and Bullhead City, serving our area since 1987. You don't have to be a sun worshiper to suffer from skin cancer. That's why it's important to see Dr. Dulot or any one of his associates regularly. You may not recognize the first signs of skin cancer. Mohave Skin and Cancer does. See them at 3650 South Point Circle, Suite 106 in Laughlin, and 2350 Miracle Mile Road in the Riverview Mall in Bullhead City.
The Pioneer Hotel and Gambling Hall has a secret. Our food. Between Bumbleberry Flats and Carve, the Pioneer offers American comfort food at its very best. From our breakfast plates, through lunch, and dinner. Pioneer has something for everyone. Come on by and visit Bumbleberry Flats or Carve. You'll love it, and your belly will too. The Pioneer Hotel and Gambling Hall.
Tyler Carlson with us, ladies and gentlemen. Now, so you've got the board squared away now, and you've got your books and yada, yada, yada squared away. So now you got the executive director you've got to worry about, the person who comes in every day and dispenses their authority, if you will, gets things done, and then reports to the board. And so this has always been a very difficult job to find somebody, as we know just from the history of the chamber executive director position, to find somebody that's here, can do it, et cetera, et cetera. You said you have 4 or 5 candidates at this point?
Yeah, we've got a handful of candidates right now.
Are they local or?
Yeah, well, we set out to make sure that our first pass was going to be local, basically the Tri-City, Tri-State area.
Awesome.
So we didn't reach out past this area, and so we did. All of the applications came in that were from this particular area, and all of the candidates, that handful or less of candidates, are all local.
Wow.
And so
wow.
Yeah, we feel pretty good about that. We know that at times it was very difficult for the executive director to do their job, no matter who we had brought in, because sometimes we as boards, and you know boards, we can be whimsical.
No.
Yes, we can actually stray a bit from what our thoughts are, our principles, or what our priorities are. One of the things we've done is really make it very clear what the priorities are, which is running the business.
Right.
That's the first priority. The finances, running the business, raising revenue, keeping folks in the chamber, as well as adding to the chamber rolls.
Sure.
That's the priority. And so if that priority gets sideways with a ribbon cutting or a handshaking or something in the paper, we know what the priority is, and we put that in writing. So that's a priority for the executive director, which we probably didn't have that in the past. We had multiple priorities, and we hoped the executive director could guess what was the right priority. So we think with the priorities, and we think a local person, we have a best chance of keeping somebody in a longer term. And by changing and focusing on the priorities that we want them to do, we think that we're going to allow that person to be more successful.
Right.
Because we're setting the priorities. We're not letting the executive director guess what they are or set their own priorities. We basically have set those, and that's why we have other staff, and that's why we have the ambassadors group and other things to help with ribbon cutting and that sort of thing. But when it gets down to, fish or cut bait, it's going to be the business has to run, and the business has to run right.
Well, the position of executive director of the chamber is multifaceted. I mean, they've got, it would help, obviously, if someone is local. I mean, if you find the right person to know the communities, which I think is very important. Usually when we export, it takes a while to get up to speed on that. But then again, that may be something you have to do. And I think knowing the players is a very big part of what they're going to be doing, and certainly having the background to be able to delegate responsibilities and be a member of the community and meet with everyone. That's going to be a tough damn job.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily easy to find somebody, and I think that what we're going to find somebody
because I'm busy. I'm sorry.
That's right, and we sent you the application first, but you didn't respond.
I couldn't take it. Yeah.
Right. Actually, we understand that.
You're very thankful.
Or if you did respond, I lost it, so I don't know what happened. But we're looking for a local person that's got some business experience,
right?
That's got some chamber experience. May not be a chamber executive by training necessarily,
right? But
we kind of think that if we get somebody who knows what it's like to have been in the business or own an own business, and especially in the area, we think that person will be able to relate to everybody else who's a business person.
Sure.
And having some business background as far as balancing your ledger and such, that's important. And already being in the community, that's important.
Yeah.
So we don't think that we're not in a kind of a fantasy that we believe that there is some person who's got 15, 20 years of training as a chamber executive director that happens to be living here, and doing something else, working at McDonald's or something.
Right.
We don't think that that's there, and it's going to be there. So we're really believing that part of the chamber speciality can be trained, but the rest of it we think is more important. Local, having some business experience, having some chamber experience,
right,
and knowing people in the community. We think that's probably as much important as getting somebody who's got a credentialed chamber executive.
Yes.
We can get someone the credentials as far as an executive director, but we're really trying this at this particular point because we've gone out before, and we basically lost the executive directors elsewhere.
Yeah.
So maybe a local person is the right road, and that's the road we're on. So whether it's the right one or not, that's the road we're on, and that's the kind of our priorities.
Best of luck with that. Let's switch hats with you for just a second here.
Sure. So I'm going to interview you?
No, I was going to say somebody. You're at.
Oh.
Yeah, not the interview. No, still the guest.
Okay.
MEC.
Yes, sir.
How's things going?
Really good. We were able to get out our all of the grants that the Western Competitive WCS grants.
That was great.
Fantastic, and we certainly hope people are running with that. We actually were the other night at the Owens Whitney School that you had brought up, and for anyone who knows something about WikiUp, if you've ever been to Dazzo's Hot Dogs, that's a little store there. Well, the Dazzos have gone through a kind of a real tough time. They both the father and the son went through a stabbing. That they both were stabbed, and the son ended up in the emergency room in Vegas, just about bled out, and he was stabbed in the neck around the carotid artery, and the older Dazzo, I'm not saying old, but the older of the two, he also suffered some knife wounds too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's happened about three and a half weeks ago.
Oh my God, no!
Yeah, it was very, 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 and it's I guess the shout out to that place. If you go through WikiUp, stop by.
That's the best sandwiches you can imagine.
Great sandwiches, Chicago-style hot dogs. So that's what I get when I stop there.
Absolutely.
But there's a bucket there just for Frank Jr.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Because he's was without insurance, and and I guess they're battling right now this victims thing, victim support, because they both are victims of a crime. And we hope we hope for the best. So we were at the Owens Whitney School, which Frank Jr. is on the school board. So we missed being able to chat with him, but we then ate there the other night, and all of the Mohave Electric folks, we stopped by and ate there, and donated in both of the 2 cans, and they very much are appreciative of it.
Yeah,
and they
I had no. Oh my
and,
God, I'm so upset.
Frank was on your group.
Yeah.
That's why That's why he couldn't participate. He was in the hospital. He couldn't participate with you guys at the very end.
My God.
So you guys, I know that you kind of lost track of him in that last week or so, and I get that, and but you proceeded on, but you couldn't have waited since I think he just got out of the hospital a week or so ago, and they're fighting this, and it's really unfortunate. They're both victims of a crime, and we hope that things go the best. So if you go through Wickiup,
please stop. On the right-hand side going south.
And
this is the north end of town.
Exactly, with the big flag. You can't miss it. It is the big flag.
This is the guy that came out, closed his store for a minute so he could come out with his pickup and pull Lynn and I off the highway in our car because the electrical system went haywire in the car.
Wow.
And he just, he came out, he hooked up, got us over there, put a battery charger on the car, and got us going out about an hour later.
That's fantastic. Well, that's them.
Right.
I mean, that's who they are. They are small town and real Americana. And if you get a chance, stop by and tell them that Tyler sent you when you stop by. Tell them Tyler sent you because anyway, so
wow.
So things are going pretty well with Mohave Electric. We just put another $1.5 million back in the community with Patronage Capital. So that with the $5.5 million or so, or a little less than that, we put in just the end of last year. I mean, the money's back in the community, and we're doing our best. We're keeping our rates low as long as we can, and that's what we're doing. We're fighting the good fight.
Phoenix doesn't mess everything up. Right?
Well, and that's exactly right. We are going to be battling at some particular point, trying to get legislation through. The legislation that we talked about that's failed. And please give us a call and give Paul Lavoie a call. Give him your name and phone number or your email address. So when we go through this legislative battle, you all can help us contact our local legislators to know that they know how to vote and they know it's important to you. What you want is that money kept in the local community, not sent to the state. That's what you want. And we all want that. So please, that's River Fund, that's the Veterans Resource Center, that's our all of our money that we send to the schools, all of our scholarships, all that stuff. Please, I mean,
they can wipe it out.
They can wipe it out that fast. So we're going to get ready to. It'll be the end of this year, and if you can, even now, just call, get Paul Lavoie your whatever contact information you want. And then when we're getting ready to go, we'll let you know that it's time to let your legislators know.
Give me a number. 928.
928. Gee, were you asking me what Paul's number is? I just walked down and knock at the door.
We'll put it on graphics.
You put it on graphics. I'm
All
really
right.
sorry.
Thanks for being here, Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
And Sam, thank you. Michaela.
Paul's number is 928-758-0579.
All right, thank
Right
you.
on.
Thanks, Michaela. Thank you, Paulie. And again, thank you all for watching. We'll be back here again with you tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.
The preceding presentation of the morning show is intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the show without the express written consent of TV2 KLBC is strictly prohibited.